Help thousands collect full disability benefits even after they've been turned down. Call now, 910-888-8888. Don't hesitate. Call 8. At Brent Adams and Associates, we make things right.
And good morning to you. Back 8 minutes after the hours here on this Friday, rolling down to the weekend, and still it's scorching hot out there. I saw one indicator said that it would be 105 today with the heat index. So if you're outside, whatever you're doing, walking the dog, whatever, make sure your pets are watered. You certainly don't want to have them tied up outside. Matter of fact, you get a ticket for that. But still, just be careful out there. It's going to be extremely warm on today. Following this show, I want you to stay with me. 9 o'clock, going to have on a good friend talking about an 80-year anniversary that they're having at a business in Dunn, North Carolina. And so I want you to stick around for that. But anyway, have exciting things for you on today. Have a guest, Mr. Kerwin Pittman. Born in Germany but raised in Raleigh, has a very interesting story we're going to be talking about today with Jay and Donovan DL. Jay, are you on the line? Okay, he's not there. But DL, you're there, correct?
Yeah, correct. Yeah,
right.
And it's hot and muggy, but I'm on the line, ready for this interesting story.
Appreciate that. Look, Mr. Pittman, I don't know where our friend is. He's the one that invited you, but we're going to go ahead and bring you on and start a conversation. Reading your bio there, quite an interesting story. Welcome to the morning show at WIDU this morning.
Thank you for having me.
Excellent. So, see that you're an author of a book. You have an incredible history. How about leading off and just telling us how you got to where you are today?
So how I got to where I am today, I'm somebody who have lived experience, and so that means I am just as involved and just as impacted. And essentially what that means is I have experience being in the carceral system. I went inside of prison at a young age, at the age of 18, 19, came home at 30 or 31, a man on a mission to really help individuals not go into prison, but most importantly, help those who are coming out so they won't have to go back into prisons through a multitude of programs. And so that's pretty much a snapshot of my journey in a nutshell.
So you were incarcerated something like 11 and a half years?
Yep, so I did 11 and a half years in the carceral system from the age of 18, 19 to 30, about 31. And so I'm somebody who was a youth that got in trouble at some points in time, and really grew up in the impoverished neighborhood and really started, doing things that we do in the impoverished neighborhood. We ultimately start joining the gangs, and so it evolved into me ultimately going into the foster system.
So now, when you were young like that, so when you were incarcerated, were you in a medium security, maximum, a minimum? What kind of unit were you in?
And so I was in all of them. So I did time in close, medium, and minimum facilities. So I did time, started out in close custody, then went to medium, then went to minimum. So my journey was spent in all of them. I started out on the youth spread, where they house young adults, and then eventually I went to the adult spread as I grew a little older.
Sure. So now, and I'm gonna move away from this in a minute, but still, so in your bio that you did a year, and what's that called?
Solitary confinement.
Yeah, solitary confinement. You did a year in solitary. That's an extended time in solitary confinement. 12 months.
Yeah. So I did close to 1,000 days total at different intervals in solitary confinement, but my longest stint, one consecutive time, was 365 days, was a year in the hole. And it was at this point where I felt a part of my journey where I lost and found myself.
Okay. So well, I'm assuming that you must have had some interactions with staff or either other people that were incarcerated that led to that kind of incarceration.
Oh yeah.
Them boxing you in like.
Definitely.
Right.
Definitely. So I going in as a youth, I got in trouble a lot, right? So
right.
we're talking about a lot of youth who are real rambunctious, but also just in a space, confined to a space. And so a lot of the times we ended up getting into fights and just getting in trouble with staff. And so ultimately what happened was I ended up aging out of those activities. And so I would be chilling, but because of past history, I would be put under investigation. And so that's how I ended up spending so much time in solitary confinement.
Right.
And this is Jay, and I am sorry. Problems with the phone.
Understood. No problem, Jay. I heard you chime in there. Mr. Pittman is already leading off, telling us a little bit about his time of incarceration. And I switch it now, and I'll let you lead off. You guys know each other a lot better.
Well, yeah. And Kerwin, I am sorry. I had problems with my phone, and first of all, welcome.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me. It's okay.
Yeah, and those that don't know Kerwin, I'll tell you, I was just amazed. I heard his story, and when I heard his story, I was just so impressed with not only what he's been through, but just being able to really be a leader in our community. He's done a lot of stuff, and I don't know if you heard his whole background, but he is. He's a national social justice activist, criminal justice reform policy expert. He advocates primarily in the social justice field. Kerwin's lived experience of spending 11 and a half years incarcerated with over a year in solitary confinement really motivated him to start his nonprofit. And I know just by seeing his story on television, I read about it on CNN, but just to have someone in the community that has done so many positive things with his life and really is someone to really listen to. So, Kerwin, what are you telling the folks now about your whole story?
It is really a story of redemption, right? And so you're looking at somebody, as I said earlier, who really had a checkered past, but was able to really turn my message into my message. And so that's one of the things that I do now is I help and I give other people hope who are in similar situations that I was once in, that, it is light at the end of the tunnel and it is better days.
Talk about the prison that you purchased, and if you have talked a lot about that, I do apologize, but that is so impressive, giving other people, and I guess it's a place where there's going to be programming, people that have already been incarcerated. This is really an opportunity for reentry and for programming, right? Talk about that a little bit and what you're using that prison for.
Yeah, sure. So I am the first former incarcerated person in United States history to ever purchase a prison and kind of build out a model of redemption that we're laying out here. And so it is no longer a prison. We call it the Recidivism Reduction Campus. It is a workforce development transitional therapeutic campus to where we'll have all wraparound supporting services for individuals who come. We're talking about substance use services. We're talking about behavioral health services. We're talking about peer support services, mentorship, all of the things. But most importantly, what we're doing is we're connecting people with economic pathways and economic mobility. And so what that looks like is we're actually getting them job placement, right? So we'll teach them HRD skills, there's human resource development skills, so how to keep their job. We'll get them placed in a job, They'll stay with us for 6 months because it is a 6-month residency program. After that, they'll graduate out of our program. If they need additional time, we have 19 acres, 80,000 square feet. We're going to put 60 tiny homes on a tract of the land, and they'll be able to transition to the tiny homes when they need additional time. That's just one of our tracks. So our other track is what we call our vocation education track, to where we're going to train these individuals in industry-level certifications, HVAC, plumbing, brick mason, electrical wiring, all of the essential trades that society needs to function, but we know the workforce is retiring and nobody's filling that workforce. And so we're going to train our individuals and give them these certifications in these workforce, and then I'm going to pair them with different unions and different jobs. It's going to help them make sure they have not only a livable wage, but a wage where they'll be able to not just survive, but thrive. And so we have another piece for our opportunity youth, where we'll teach them social and emotional learning, as well as CBT, cognitive behavior therapy, and we'll do this through art and STEM therapy, as well as give them career pathways. And so all of the things and pitfalls that I wish I had when I transition out, I now provide them for other people, all in one place.
What motivated you to do this? I mean, where did that vision come from for you to say, hey, there is a piece of property for sale, and there happens to be a prison on this property, and I can use this prison to help other people? I mean, how did that whole idea come about? Because that's really being a visionary. I mean, how did you do that?
Yeah, so that's kind of one of the visions that a lot of people in prison talk about, right? Is what could they utilize this facility for that could really help individuals, right? And so, of course, you being incarcerated, you become a dreamer, right? And so you dream of different things and what this facility or what a prison could be used for that could be essential to helping people get back into society and function on their feet. And so it was one of those visions that we had, or one of those dreams that I had while incarcerated. And now when the opportunity presented itself, I made sure that I seized the moment of that opportunity, not only to be able to usher in this new revolution of taking decommissioned prisons and flipping them into spaces that now liberates people instead of actually incarcerate people. And so I want to add for preferences too, this will not be a functioning prison. When individuals get out of jail or prison, they will be able to come to our facility, right? That's the springboard and the stepping stone for them to get stable before they actually have to go back up into society or to go back out into society.
I'm going to let the other two ask a question, but I had a question here. You have it's like a mobile facility I've seen, I think, on television where some vehicle is going around. And can you talk about the mobile facility and also talk about your role on the government's or the governor's board? If you could just talk about those two, and then I'll let DL and Troy have at it.
So our mobile recidivism reduction centers is one of the things that was come off of my lived experience, right? And so all of our programs come off of lived experience. A good ton of it come from my lived experience or kind of the pitfalls that I fell into because of the gaps in services. I now wanted to build programs that actually bridges the individuals can walk across to receive those services and get success. And so the mobile unit, our mobile recidivism reduction centers, essentially is a bus that we gutted out. We turned it into an actual mobile center. So we redesigned the total inside so it looks like an actual center on the inside. I hired 2 people who are just involved in just the fact they got them peer support trained, but also got them trained as community health workers certifications as well. And they go into communities to help people get birth certificates, Social Security cards, sign them up for Medicaid, Medicare, pass out harm reduction supplies, teach people how to use the naloxone, fentanyl test strips. They help people get jobs. Help them write resumes. We have a computer lab in the back of the mobile unit. Individuals can go on the mobile unit and actually help get on the computer or get on a tablet, and we have those that assist them. We give out hygiene supplies. We give out inclement weather supplies. We do back-to-school drives to the mobile units. So the thing that I realized, and we do a ton of other things for these mobile units, but the thing that I realized most is a lot of people build these resources, right, and they put them in a building. The biggest barrier for my people, just involved in just impacted people, is transportation and lack of transportation. Yeah. And so in order to cut down that barrier, we bring the services and we bring these things directly to the people, directly to the ones who need it most. the communities who need it most. And I'm talking about some of the roughest communities in North Carolina with here. So we currently have 2 mobile units. One of the mobile units operate in the eastern part of the state, and the second mobile unit operates in the central part of the state. And we will be expanding out and coming down to the Fayetteville, Lumberton area pretty soon as well.
That's fantastic. I don't know, DL, Troy, I have more questions, but
Yeah.
I wanted to give you guys an opportunity.
Yeah, because we getting to the bottom of the hour. So, good morning, Mr. Pittman. And I have just 3 quick questions. Number one, the funding. Do you receive any funding from the state of North Carolina or any local county governments? Number 2, so, of course, your intentions are good, and I like what you're doing. What is your process for when you get somebody there who's going to fall back or backslide, and that person will be detrimental to your program? Because I know you about giving second and third chances. How do you handle that? And then number 2, a lot of our cities in North Carolina are going towards curfew because some of our kids are not making best decisions and the parents need help. How do you feel about the curfews in some of the local cities? Thank you.
Okay, those are good questions. So as it relates to the funding piece, I do not receive any funding from county or government entities. So we are set up through a 501c3, so we do receive philanthropic support from foundations, as well as we receive grant funding, as well as we set up part of the company do billable services through Medicaid, right? But it's receiving direct funding from these entities. We do not receive direct funding from counties or government, but I'm not saying that's not off the table even for like some of our programming, right? For the mobile units or different things of that nature. As it relates to accountability, I am a firm believer in holding individuals accountable, right? And so that accountability looks like if you do come into our facility in the program and you don't want to do the right thing, then this may be a great fit for you, and you may have other options, right? That you may feel like other options are out on the street. And so they'll have to take their chance out on the street, because what we don't want to do is hold back a spot for somebody who needs it most, because we're only going to have 200 to 250 residency beds, right, for those who want to partake in the residency side of things every 6 months. And so we want to make sure we're getting people in there who want to have this opportunity, but most importantly, we're going to vet individuals before they even come into our program to make sure we're picking the right fit of individuals who are coming into our program. 3, as it relates to the curfews, I honestly think it is nothing more than putting a Band-Aid on a cut. And I'm going to be honest, it is really nothing productive and constructive for these youth to do, right? And so if you issue a curfew for these youth, on the end of that, it must be some type of programming that you put in place, or funding for programming that you may put in place, so a type of programming that you put in place for these youth to be able to steer them away from that direction. I know for me, my mentors when I was coming up, and honestly coming from an empty neighborhood, was people who hung on the street corners, right? Was the drug dealers, was the gangsters, these were my mentors, because I had nobody else. And so these were the individuals that I came to. But if I honestly believe if I had other positive mentors inside and introduced into my ecosystem, life potentially may would have turned out a little different. And so we have to start thinking on those type of levels and from those type of perspectives, and creating these opportunities and spaces for these youth to be able to thrive, but most importantly, to pour into them and ask them what they want. Ask the youth what they want. A lot of people are making decisions about the youth but not talking to the youth.
Okay. Hey, so I know you're going to be off in about a few minutes, but if you can tune in on Facebook and listen to our conversation after the hour, because we're going to chime in on what your last point about the curfew. Thanks a lot.
All right, thank you.
Troy, what do you got?
No, Jay, I started off with him, so I'll let you wrap up. You came on late.
Yeah, so if you can, Kerwin, if people want to get involved, if someone has a loved one that's been incarcerated that really wants to get in touch with your program, first of all, how would they do that?
So we can be reached through our website at www.rreps.net. Again, www.rreps.net. The organization name is Recidivism Reduction Educational Program Services. And so rreps.net, we call it REPS for short. Also, I'm Kerwin Pittman on all social media platforms. Feel free to send me a message. But most importantly, if you go to the website, the message, and click on the contact tab, it will take you directly to be able to get directly to our team, who will be able to answer your questions and help steer you in the right direction.
And do you speak at I know you speak all over at different organizations. Would people be able to contact you to have you speak to an organization as well? Is that something that you would be willing to do?
Oh, yeah, that's something I'd definitely be willing to do.
Okay, and is there one last thing? Is there a cost? So you mentioned that you do have beds at this prison where people are spending the night. Is that correct?
Yeah, so it is a 6-month residency program for the residents.
And who pays for that? How does that person? So a person gets out and they apply to this program to get in. What does that give them? Does that give them meals and training? And
Yes.
Just talk about that before we go to our break.
It'll give them all of the things that they need, right, to function at your facility. So it is a residency program, so meals will be included, as well as they will get different items if they are indigent, right? So we're talking about underclothes, like all of the essential things that they will need to function. They will be able to receive at our facility for free. And who's going to pay for this? We're doing this through philanthropic support, but also donations. We're raising money for like all of the different things that that the individual needs. We're going to make sure they have there. We're getting the money right now.
Kerwin,
Right.
I'll tell you, you're an inspiration. We really appreciate you coming on. Hopefully we will follow your journey. And again, thank you so much. And we hope you have a great weekend. And you take care of yourself, okay? And thank you.
Sure.
You too. Thank y'all for having me.
Thank you,
Thank
Carolyn.
you.
For those individuals out there, like you say, he's on the social media platforms. If you would go to, his name is first name Kerwin, Pittman, 2 T's, and learn more about this program. Certainly, he said he's coming to our area, Fayetteville, Lumberton. Certainly, there's a need here, and we look forward to meeting him. Matter of fact, if he comes in town, we want to get him behind the microphone so he can meet him directly and ask him questions and things. But we appreciate Jay making that connection of bringing him on to the morning show on this Friday. We're going to go to a break, and after the break, then, like DL stated, we'll come back and talk about some more things involving our young people. Certainly, we are all concerned about what's going on, particularly over the 4th of July holiday weekend. A number of shootings and things occurred in Raleigh. I think it was in 3 different places. 2 shootings. I mean, it was a shooting at a movie theater and some other places. But anyway, look, this stuff is just nationwide. These youngsters just getting together and popping up. This is real serious. Matter of fact, we've had that same kind of thing right here in Cumberland County in Fayetteville. Anyway, going to go to a break, and we'll be back with more of JDL Troy. We'll be back.
Hi, I'm Mitch Colvin, president of Colvin Funeral Home and Crematory. For over 50 years, our family has provided professional services with dignity, compassion, and respect with families during a time of need. We realize funeral services are as unique as those we're honoring. We offer a variety of affordable, quality services tailored to meet each family's needs, specializing in burial and cremation services. Proudly servicing Cumberland, Robeson, Hope, Harnett, Bladen, and surrounding counties from 2 locations, 2010 Murchison Road, Fayetteville, 1904 Elizabethtown Road, Lumberton. For more information, visit our website, www.hmcolvin.com.
Planning a renovation, new deck, or even buying a fixer-upper? Before you start swinging hammers or sign on the dotted line, check if a permit is required. Getting the right permits keeps your project safe, legal, and on track. Whether it's for home improvement or commercial upgrade, your permitting team is here to help. Visit FayettevilleNC.gov/permits or give us a call at 910-433-1707.
Most North Carolinians expect political violence to mar the 2026 midterm elections. That according to a Catawba College YouGov poll. People are still camping out to get a seat to hear a preliminary hearing in the killing of Charlie Kirk. Experts are warning of an intestinal illness, cyclospora, that has been making its rounds in more than a dozen states, including North Carolina. Finance network CNBC on Thursday named North Carolina the second best state to do business, the latest edition of its influential annual rankings. Although farmers are calling this week's storms drops from heaven, there's still major concern over dangerous drought conditions in the state affecting crops. Gas prices have been rising steadily as the war with Iran intensifies, jumping 5 cents overnight. AAA shows the average cost in North Carolina on Friday, $3.61, up 12 cents in the last 2 days. Mike Rayleigh, NCN News.
I'm Jamie Monticelli, WIDU Radio News. The Fayetteville Police Department says as we reach the halfway point of the year, they are proud to share a snapshot of the impact the K-9 unit has made in the community. The K-9 unit has had 337 total deployments this year. That includes 250 detection deployments and 87 patrol deployments. The unit has had 118 positive K-9 indications, 36 criminal arrests, and 8 people located. Fayetteville Police K-9 handlers and K-9s answer each call with professionalism, dedication, and outstanding results. From proactive patrols and narcotics detection to tracking, training, and public safety, the numbers represent countless hours of hard work behind the scenes. Fayetteville Cumberland Parks and Rec says heads up, the railroad crossing on the trail near the Clark Park and Nature Center will be under repair Monday, July 13th and Tuesday the 14th. The rest of the trail, park, and nature center will remain open as usual. From WIDU Radio, I'm Jamie Monticelli.
It looks like we're in for another hot day with highs in the mid-90s to 100. Those hundreds possible mainly in the southern counties. Also a chance for storms this afternoon. We're under a level 1 risk for severe weather. Watch out for a severe storm. Highs mid-90s to 100. Low to mid-70s tonight with early showers and storms. Not quite so hot for the day tomorrow and still a risk for severe weather. Scattered showers and storms appear likely with a high temperature in the lower to mid-90s. I'm meteorologist Mike Mays in the NCN Weather Center.
Are you looking for an opportunity to serve the community? Become a part of the decision-making in the City of Fayetteville government and apply to fill an upcoming vacancy on our boards and commissions. You can apply now through July 31st by visiting fayetteville.nc.gov/boards. Click on the red apply button found in the middle of the page. Boards and commissions are a great way for residents to engage in their community and help build a greater Fayetteville.
You ever notice how most helpful information always seems to show up just a little too late? Like, oh, the deadline was yesterday. Or,
you know you could have saved money if you'd done that earlier.
Timing matters. With smart timing, you can lower your energy costs by running appliances like washers, dryers, and dishwashers outside of peak hours. And by adjusting your thermostat just a few degrees higher between 3 and 6 in the afternoon, you can save even more. It's a simple shift that helps reduce strain on the energy grid, supports a more sustainable future, and keeps power reliable for everyone in our community. Because at Fayetteville PWC, we're committed to being environmentally responsible, dependable, and deeply invested in the place we all call home. Timing matters, and smart timing means savings. Learn more at startsaving at faypwc.com.
And 25 minutes for the top of the hour here. Again, back to the morning show. Just had on Mr. Kerwin Pittman. Again, I would encourage you to go to his social media sites. Very interesting young man, certainly, as he stated, 11 and a half years incarcerated and 1 year in solitary confinement. That's pretty wow. That's one of the wow factors there. But anyway, back and going to DL now. We was talking about, Jay, you want to talk about these youth curfews and your thoughts on that.
Yeah, very interesting story. And what I like about his story the most is that he's doing it without help of taxpayer dollars, and I wouldn't have a problem as long as his program is ascending and he's holding folks accountable. For some of my taxpayer dollars go towards that program. But let's talk about the teen curfews. You had an incident in North Charleston. It was not in the wee hours of the morning. They were 4th of July celebration when you had, I think 3 adults have already been charged, but then you had 4 or 5 teens jumping and assaulting a small female police officer. Out of control. Okay. Winston-Salem had curfew issues. Charlotte's had teen issues at night. And, of course, Troy, you talked about Raleigh. So the Winston-Salem Journal had an article, or a parent, police, her son was out 3 o'clock in the morning, and she, in her article, she said she has contacted the state, and I believe her story, and I hope they assist her, because what she's done, when your teen is being what they call undisciplined, meaning when you tell little Johnny or Susie to be in the house at 5 o'clock or so many minutes after you get off the bus, and they don't do it, well, the police is not going to come arrest that juvenile unless they're on some type of probation or whatever. You can do a report over the phone, call undisciplined juveniles, and we encourage parents to do that. Get that different case number, because each time, you know, if you do it every day, they're just being disobedient, saying out all like you're building a case. So when he does do something, those police reports get sent over to the juvenile justice system. The unique thing about our juveniles, folks, is that law enforcement officers can only do reports. If the juvenile court counselors and our district attorneys have to determine if we're going to prosecute this case in court. So law enforcement cannot be heavy-handed. They can write it up. But let's get back to what Mayor Colvin did, not this year, but last year after the incident at the Dogwood Festival. Folks thought that he was too quick to do it. They enacted it, and then they kept it going. It was the right decision. Our elected folks have to realize your first responsibility as an elected official on any level is public safety. Now, if you want to get into the weeds and get do the programs like Mr. Pittman doing, of course, I'm for those programs. But our youth are out of control, and our parents need help. Now, Mr. Pittman, I asked him one of my last questions he answered about the curfew. He said he didn't disagree with it because he's putting a Band-Aid on something, and he said we need to be asking his kids. We got to get them back, and I didn't want to go back and forth with him because of time. But I tell Mr. Pittman and anybody else, when it's 10 o'clock at night, the government has done their job. You had the incident in Raleigh about 3 months ago at the malls. The malls can only do so much. I am talking about at 10 o'clock at night when you're that child, anybody under 15 should be in the house. Now in Fayetteville, they have made provisions for some of our teens worked. So they may be out at light. That's justified if they're coming from a job at a certain time. But I'm for these curfews. And before I swing it to you guys, let me tell you what I did when I was 17. I snuck out the window because I had an older uncle who was 4 or 5 years older than me, but I didn't get in trouble. I was his designated driver. So when he went out, he didn't have to drink and drive. I did that for a couple older cousins and uncles. But my parents didn't know I was gone because I had a ground bedroom window. But I didn't get in trouble, though. These teens are doing the opposite of that. They're out stealing cars. They're out committing felonies and doing whatever they should not be doing in the wee hours of the morning. So they don't get to come to the table and talk about, well, y'all need to find something to do. Because when you do that, folks, you're telling government, I want you to help me raise my child, and they may not raise them the way you want to.
So can I ask a question? The whole thing with these teen takeovers, right. One was right in my backyard at Briar Creek.
Right.
I live, 3-4 miles away, and there were an estimated 5,000 kids out there. The question to you guys, both from law enforcement backgrounds, and I hear what you're saying, DL, but how does law enforcement, I understand the parents have a role here, but how does law enforcement even handle, you have 5,000 kids out there acting rowdy, doing crazy stuff. What should they be doing? I mean, how do you even, 5,000, you have 100 law enforcement, out there. I don't even know what to do. And now this is starting to gain some traction, DL, and I'm worried about cities all over the country with these teen takeovers. What do you do?
Okay, here's what you do, Jay.
Yeah.
I love these crazy Florida sheriffs in Florida. Here's what you do. Yeah. You have officers, intelligence, who monitor social media. And when they're going to do these street takeovers and car takeovers, you stay on social media because what we do, we post everything on social media. So law enforcement, Fayetteville has those types of folks. And so what you do even when they advertise, we're going to have this function at this location. So you, the city council and the county, because if it's in the county, you find the event organizer. You make him get liability insurance. You see his security plan. Okay, who do you have monitoring the situation? And if his security plan don't pass the test, you shut it down. Just like when I want to rent Smith Recreation Center down there off Langan, you can't rent a city facility and if you're having a dance without having the proper security, because they're going to vet the person who's applying for it. They want to run that name to make sure, hey, we got any concerns with him. That's how you shut that down.
Yeah.
City and the county officials have to say, no, you're not having this event. You do it in Florida. I see where the sheriff, if he goes, if you have this event out here, you will be arrested, event organizer. They're putting it back on them. So that's how you handle that.
Yeah, no, I like that. It just seems like this is now the new thing for young people, these team takeovers, and it is scary. I mean, if you're an adult and you want to hang out at Glenwood South or Briar Creek or downtown Fayetteville, people are going to hesitate. It's going to hurt businesses because people are worried about the future of these things. So thank you. I think that makes a lot of sense with the monitoring of social media.
Right. Well, here's the challenge deal, though, with the curfew here. If you look at the ages of the people who are committing these offenses, they don't fall within the curfew age. They're older than what the curfew will affect. That was and I think that's logically speaking, you would say, why you have a curfew for people under 18 when it's people over 18 that are actually causing the problems. That's the challenge I have with that, okay? So, I mean, because it's just like, okay, you're tying up resources in law enforcement to be in the middle of that when they could be doing something else. The next thing is, interesting enough, I just wrote a column, I turned it in Monday, to the Up and Coming Weekly, because I write for them every other week. And I wrote about that very thing, Jay. I don't go into detail, but I did look at what happened in Raleigh on the 4th of July. So now what they're able to do, once they get online, they're able to form these things very quickly. Law enforcement, yes, they're monitoring it, but they may not be able to respond in time enough. They probably can put that thing together in less than an hour. And boom, kids just show up because they don't have nothing else to do. They're just riding around. So hey, meet me here, boom, they're there. And so in 3 different occasions, one of those, I forget the exact place now, but they had one of those things out there near a movie theater, and they got into some fights, right? And 2 adults who were innocent bystanders got shot in that occasion.
That's right.
Then they went to another place. Right. This all happened in the same night, right? In the second place they went to, 4 people got shot. Then they went to a third place, and 2 people got shot. So, I mean, it's like, well, first of all, if you're out there just now, even in the middle of the day, you need to be paying attention. If you see people getting together and stuff like that, I would advise you to, just make a motion, move out the way, but you have to be paying attention. It can't be you just eating ice cream and walking along, holding your honey's hand and not paying attention, or else you might get hurt. That's just the way it is now. So,
is the goal of, and just out of curiosity, is the goal of the takeover to just hang out and have like a party, or is the goal to cause trouble and hurt people? I mean, what is the goal of these team takes? Just to have a big party, or really to cause trouble?
I don't think it's necessarily that. Well, let me respond to this right quick, though, Jay. DL. Yeah. I don't think it's necessarily that, but here's the problem. They have so much stuff going on the social media, and someone might see someone's name inside of something and just show up to something. Because I know a party happened in another county, whereas that this guy, it was an adult person with a birthday party, and these 2 guys were beefing with each other on social media, And this guy saw where this other person was going to be at the party. Somehow or another, you know, he said something. And so he went to the party armed with a weapon to kill this person. Now, he was the one that wound up getting killed by somebody else. But still, that's the challenge right there. You know, I think it starts out a particular way, but who do you know out of that, however many people there, don't have an issue with someone and they want to resolve it at that moment? That's where the problem drops in. Deal.
Interesting.
Yeah, so Troy, when we get a chance, me and you have to revisit the pros and cons of curfews. But Jay, not everybody has good intentions, Jay, just like Troy said, and I'll say this.
Yeah.
But when they're meeting up, Jay, they're usually on somebody's public property or large parking lot. And in some cases where business is closed, they say they authorize police, no trespassing. Cars will be towed at own expense, contact this towing company. And police can they grant police the right to make arrests without contacting them. Police can act as an agent for that business. So there's the problem, too. Where are you meeting at? And folks have a right not to want these young folks on their business. But it just boils down to they're saying we need to give these young folks something to do. Well, I'm going to tell you this. For me, as a taxpayer, 10 o'clock at night is a non-starter for me. Because let's say the city keeps a recreation center open. City's got to put somebody there, get an employee there, make sure that employee's safe. There's going to be security around that employee. You know, there we go again, wanting government to solve our problem. And I got a problem with that because government shouldn't be helping us raise our kids.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah. Good points. I'm learning something from you guys. I'll tell you, I read a little bit about it, but I like your thought about the monitoring, the social media. And what you said, Troy, is exactly the truth. Because in Raleigh, most of the arrests were people over 18.
Right. So, I mean, I got that. And so, but how do you solve that challenge? Because they're over 18 years of age. I mean, they could be in the military or whatever else it is. They're old enough to be responsible. But it's that 18 to like 24. To me, I'm not trying to judge anyone, but that seems to be that most dangerous crowd. You know what I mean?
Right.
That it's just, they will hurt you. And even if you're driving now, because, you know, they drive and they speed, they might cut you off in the road or something like that. I know when my daughter was younger and I had a friend of ours and we used to take our daughters out at night. They want to go out and I didn't know you could go to a movie theater at midnight. I didn't know that until, you know, she said, oh, Dad, let's go out here. So we went out to the theater right here in Fayetteville, Cross Creek Mall. And, man, we leave there, and cars be racing and stuff like that. And, you know, I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on that if you're not, if you're not dialed into that lifestyle of what they're doing, you just don't know because you're home. You see what I'm saying? So, I mean, how would you know? But they be pretty wilding out there. I mean, especially when, like DL says, you know, when they get in these big, large parking lots that are attached to malls and things like that. That's what they do. Now here, Deal, I don't know if you're familiar with that bowling thing, whatever it is. It's a thing out there at Cross Creek Mall that they had an issue out there too, you know. So they'll move from one spot to the next. It's just not a good situation. But I said this in my column: if these youngsters are monsters, then the parents are Dr. Frankenstein. Okay. So, you know, Frankenstein was not the monster. Frankenstein was the doctor. They created the monster.
Right. We got some serious problems. I'll tell you, social media, you know, when we were kids, we didn't have the social media. Social media has changed the game with everything. And, you know, it's really unfortunate that young people and older people don't want to do the right thing. It's getting crazy, and I'm sure cities all over the country, their elected officials are now putting plans together about the potential of these teen takeovers. Not a good thing.
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, the whole teen takeover thing is the rage now, and
it is.
They're becoming emboldened, DL. I mean, at this point right here, look, hey, I mean, they're Breaking Bad, and they're sending threats, and we're going to get together, and da-da-da-da-da. And the whole thing, though, with youth like that and police interaction, something bad is going to happen, really. Either something bad is going to happen to the officers, or law enforcement, or something's going to bad happen to the kids. But did you guys hear about this other one? This was, I forget exactly, excuse me for not knowing the exact place, but these 3 youngsters, and they were all very young, they attacked this grandmother in the middle of the day to steal her car, and she offered them, she said, look, take my wallet, take my keys, all this other stuff. They took the car. She was strapped in the car with the seatbelt. They drug her something like 300 feet.
Oh, my God.
And they killed her. And then when they got them in court, they were laughing and giving people the single finger salute. And like, you can't do anything to me because I'm under 16. I mean, it is just horrific.
That's disgusting.
How
disgusting.
Right, that we are raising these kind of kids. I mean, I believe it comes back to parenting, no doubt about that. So I just, something's wrong though. I heard Dr. Conley say something.
Can I just say one thing?
Sure,
I agree with parenting, but I think you also have some bad kids out there that I don't care what parenting you provide. Some kids are just going to be bad kids.
That's true.
You know.
That's true.
So
that's true.
You know.
But, hey, guys, real quickly before we sign off, and I told my mother the statute of limitations on discipline me for what I did years ago, 40 years ago or older. Now, Governor Josh Stein vetoed the bill about the homeless. Homeless camps. Now, here's what I do want to happen with that bill, though, Troy and Jay, is that
please
the opposition side.
Can you explain the bill first of all, DL, because I don't know enough about it, and then go on to it.
Let me let Troy have it. Troy handle that.
Yeah.
No, you can go and do that. I mean, basically just saying that, these encampments near these businesses, of course, their businesses are being hurt. And, I understand these business owners, if you are an entrepreneur, you don't want somebody coming up doing various things. I won't describe it on the radio, but you can imagine the things that they're doing that could hurt your business.
Yeah. But here's what I want to happen, though. The opposition, since they vetoed it, send what you over to the House and the Senate and say, could you add this in there, whatever programs you need? Because, Troy, you said it best. Nobody wants unhoused folks. Some of them are down on their luck. They just don't want them congregating around business because they scare off patrons. And that's facts right there. And I also don't want to criminalize being unhoused. So that's the dynamic. But I'm hoping, because I don't think the Carla Cunninghams and the Democrats that usually help out the Republicans because they were kind of upset on what the party did to them. I don't know if they're going to cross over on this one. That would be surprising.
They were upset what Governor Stein did to them.
What does the bill say that Stein signed? Or didn't
he
sign?
Sign.
Can you just tell me?
He vetoed it.
No, he vetoed it.
Just like Troy said, basically, you cannot set up in camps near businesses, so many feet away from businesses, and it has some other language in there that the governor didn't like. And I'm saying that they need to work on it and get something passed. I got to read it in detail, but it needs to include some help for mental health. And I'm not saying it doesn't help. It just needs to put something in there so it can work for everybody, or else the GOP is going to have to get some help from some Democrats. And Troy, I heard you chuckling when I said, "Would you think the 2 or 3 crossover, the ones that are on the way out the door?"
Right. Well, it's just look. I was saying that it wasn't the party; it was Governor Stein. Let's be honest about this.
Oh yeah.
Governor Stein was the one leading charge. Yeah. Look, he was playing a Mini Cooper. That's what he was doing. He was playing a Mini Cooper. So, hey, look, they're getting them back. They say, look, they're not voting against it. They're just not showing up. So you're giving the Republicans the advantage by not showing up. So it's like, hey, look, you did this to me. I'm going to do this back to you. So,
Got it.
But,
Thank you.
Dr. Conley, who used to be the school superintendent here, I was in a meeting with him. it's been several years ago, but they was going on and back and forth about the kids in school being bad. And I do agree with him, guys. He said this. He told those parents, he said, look, the problem is not with me or the schools. The problem begins out there on Owen Drive when that child is born. You know what I mean? That's
Right.
you got to deal with it then. And he's right. Look, we want everybody to solve everything when these folk are having their own children. Now, I agree with you, Jay. There are some youngsters just totally out of control. But every youngster is not out of control. The majority of these youngsters, I believe, that are out there, these parents could have exercised better parenting. That's my opinion. But anyway.
No, I don't disagree with you at all.
Right.
Don't disagree with you. Can I ask a quick question? I know we're about to close out here. We need to talk about it next week. But just your initial opinion on what's happening with the 911 discussion in Fayetteville. Does it make sense what they're doing? Are we going to take another, I don't know how many months or years to get this thing together?
No.
Where do you stand on it, and does it make sense, real quick?
Pretty much that's been solved. I had on the mayor, and Kirk Devier was on with us telephonically yesterday, and so that's pretty much been solved. So we're good. I mean, we're rolling. Look, I give Mayor Colvin and the chair Devier credit. They're getting their act together, man, with that. I'm telling you. I mean, and they moved, and really, I think most of the credit would have to go to the board chair, Kirk Devier, because the mayor's been there since 2017. But I'm just telling you, I think they've solved that. And they've resolved it in a way such that it was a 17-0 vote, bro. You have 10 council members, and you have 7 commissioner members voted in unison to do what they're doing.
And to do what they're doing is, just quickly, the argument has been over the years, does the city run it, does the county run it?
The county's going to run it.
So now they're going to run it together.
Right, they're going to run it together, but it's just pretty much going to be run by the county.
Got it. Okay. Very interesting. It's great that two bodies can come together, agree unanimously, and move forward. And that's a blessing in this day and age with local leaders. That doesn't always happen like that.
You're right, sir. Well, look, I appreciate you guys. We got to get out of here. Thank you so much. Have a great weekend. It's supposed to be 105 on this end on the day. So if you're out there, just wrap up and stay inside if you can, and stay cool.
Thank you so much.
Take care, guys. Have a great one.
This is Pastor Steve McMillan of the New Life Covenant Fellowship, 362 Neville Street in your God bless city of Fayetteville. You're listening to Wake Up.
Your station for inspiration and information. 1600 AM, 99.7 FM, WIDU1600.com. We are WIDU Fayetteville. We do radio. Follow us on Facebook at WIDU 1600 AM.
God of our weary years, God of our silent tears, Thou who hast brought us thus far along the way, Thou who hast by thy might led us into the light, keep us forever in the path, we pray, lest our feet stray from the places, our God, where we met thee, lest our hearts, drunk with the wine of the world, we forget thee. Shadow beneath thy hand, may we forever stand, true to our God, true to our native land.
NCN News. I'm Mike Rayleigh. The U.S. and Iran exchange intensifying fire across the Middle East. Kara Chama says that.
The U.S. launched new airstrikes on Iran on Thursday as Iran responded with strikes on U.S.-allied Middle Eastern countries such as Bahrain, Kuwait and Qatar. The exchange of fire was a continuation from Wednesday and seemed to escalate Thursday as an Iranian official accused the U.S. of launching an airstrike near its solar nuclear power plant.
A bomb threat made against UNC's Keenan Stadium prompted hours-long police investigation. On Thursday, the stadium was evacuated. Among those alerted to stay away, Trevor Moeller, who tells CBS 17,
the instinct was to listen to what was told, to stay away from the stadium.
Attorneys general from North Carolina and 47 other states are pushing for further efforts from the federal government to crack down on illegal robocalls. Attorney General Jeff Jackson tells WRAL
they're basically selling weapons of mass financial destruction to these scammers and doing it with total negligence, total disregard for the consequences to people in the state.
North Carolina is investing $7 million to help reduce wildfire risk in western North Carolina, where officials say Helene left behind millions of downed trees and branches, and that's dangerous right now. Amber Ferguson, whose family owns debris removal company, told WLOS her company continues to see storm debris across the region.
There's an endless amount, it seems like, right now.
North Carolina's state budget includes $25 million to reestablish essential